Welcome to lesson 20, problem number 1, where we are factoring trinomials. But today it's trinomials like in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, but a doesn't equal 1. So we can't just do our add multiply, our AM method. It's much more challenging because of that leading coefficient of 5, and we can't factor it out because it's not a greatest common factor. So these types of problems where the leading coefficient, even after you try to get a greatest common factor, is not 1, is challenging. There's 4 methods that are typically taught. One is called the box method. Guess and check is a second. A third is called slide and divide. The method we're going to use is called splitting the middle term. And if you have questions on the other methods or this method, feel free to email me. But for now, let's follow the steps that I have written at the top. Our first task is to find 2 numbers that add to b and multiply to ac. So ac is 10, and the 2 numbers that multiply to 10 and add to b, which in this case is 7, are 5 and 2. So we've accomplished step 1. Step 2, split the middle term. So what that means is we use those 2 numbers and we split the 7x into 5x and 2x. So literally what we've done so far is we've taken this 7x and we've split it into these 2 terms. That was step 2. Step 3, we're going to group 2 and 2. So we're going to group these 2 together and these 2 together. By the way, you'd get the exact same answer if you had written the 2x first and then the 5x instead of 5x and 2x. Same thing. Okay, so we group 2 and 2. Step 4, we are going to factor GCFs. So between these first 2 terms, the GCF is 5x, and we know how to do that. So in parentheses, we have x plus 1. Okay, we're going to take out the GCF from these 2 terms, which is 2, and we once again get x plus 1. We know we've done it right when we see that this parentheses matches this parentheses. So now we can just complete the factoring because our greatest common factor now is x plus 1, the part that's in red, and then the part that I'm going to write for our other parentheses is what's left over, the 5x and the 2. So 5x plus 2, and that's our final answer. It's a really tough process, and you really need to just practice with this. And feel free again to email me if you want extra practice. Okay, the next one, a times c is a positive 12. The 2 numbers that multiply to that and add to negative 8 are negative 6 and negative 2. So I'm going to rewrite it as 3k squared minus 6k minus 2k plus 4. That was step 2, which was splitting the middle term. So we've done that step. I'm going to get rid of our work here that helped us find the negative 6 and the negative 2. But now that we have that, now we're going to group them 2 and 2. Okay, I'm going to put a little line here so we can make a little space. The greatest common factor from the first 2 is 3k. So it's 3k times k minus 2. And then it's going to be a minus. And we always want to factor out a minus if this third term is a negative. So it's minus 2 times k minus 2. And since our 2 parentheses match, we know we did it right. And our final answer is the common parentheses of k minus 2 and what's left over, 3k minus 2. And we're done. Okay, let's do another one. All right, the next one is a little tricky because there is a greatest common factor first. We can first take the 2, because that's always our first step in factoring, is taking out a greatest common factor if possible. So we factored out the 2 from this first 12x squared minus 2x minus 4. Okay, so now that we've taken out that 2, now we still have a leading coefficient that is not 1. So we now have to go to the splitting the middle term process. A times c is negative 12. The 2 numbers that multiply to negative 12 add to the negative 1. Remember, there's a negative 1 right there, is negative 4 and positive 3. I'm going to keep rewriting that 2. In fact, actually, let's leave that 2. We'll remember to put it in at the very end, but for just to kind of show you, we're only factoring this part right now. I just don't want that to be confusing. So now I'm going to say we have 6x squared So 6x squared minus 4x plus 3x minus 2. So I have split the middle term. The negative x got split into negative 4x and plus 3x. We're going to group 2 and 2. Take out the GCF. The GCF from the first two is 2x. So I have 3x minus 2. And then from the other one, the only greatest common factor is 1. So I put the 1 on the outside and again have 3x minus 2. And so our final factoring, we still need this 2 on the very outside. So I'm going to bring that down. So our final answer is going to be that 2, that blue 2. And then from the green part, our common factor is 3x minus 2. And the part that's left over is 2x plus 1. And we are done. So this is our final factored form. Okay, let's go to D. So for D, I'm going to rearrange it so it's in standard form, 35h squared minus 3h minus 2. When we multiply 35 times negative 2, we get negative 70, so that's A times C. We have to add to negative 3, so it's going to be a negative 3 and a positive 7. And we now have 35h squared minus 10h plus 7h minus 2. I'm going to get rid of this extra little bit right here, simply because we already know which numbers work. We're now going to group 2 and 2. And the greatest common factor for the first 2 is 5h. So we have 7h minus 2. And then we're going to say plus 1 times 7h minus 2. Okay, there was no GCF to go back to this time, so our final answer is simply 7h minus 2 times 5h plus 1. And we're done. So let's make that look like a 5. All right, and we are done. Okay, great job, and we will see you next time.